Hey everybody, my name is Alex. Welcome to Mutated Percussion. Today we're going to be comparing some tenor mallets. We're going to be comparing the McInstosh old school Mizzles that he had when he was still innovative to the new Flips that just came out not too long ago. But right now I just wanted to show you how badly it's snowing here. This is my backyard right now. It's not too bad, but we already got like a foot of snow earlier in the week. But man, it is snowing badly. I'm in Indianapolis, by the way, for those of you who don't know. Yeah, anyways, let's get to it. All right, like I said before, today we're going to be checking out the Mizzles versus the Flips from McInstosh. Both are McInstosh sticks, primarily for marching tenors. But before we get into what they sound like and everything and the use of them and whatnot, I wanted to go into a little bit more about them. So the Mizzles, as you can see here, I found an old page that is still up on the Innovative website that discusses the McInstosh Mizzles. This is from the 2015 new products page. So they came out a while ago, but like they weren't around very long, which I've found disappointing because I kind of like them. But as you can see here, right here, they have the rounded tip. Looks like you can also get them. I do remember, yeah, you get the rubber bits on there, but I don't remember what I did with those. I've had mine for a really long time, and they still have the thing on there and whatnot. Now they are technically still around, but they are. Let me pull this up. Is IP FT2L, I think is what they are. I found them on, I think it was like a British website. Here we go. Yes, here we go. This is what they are now. Kind of see them a little bit better there, I think. This is what they are now here, with the black bead rather than the purple bead. But the purple is something that Mac did tend to carry over, as we'll see later here in a minute, onto the Flips, the purple theme. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at those. All right, now I have right here, we are at the ProMark page, or the Dario site. All right, so let's go ahead and, oops, scroll to the wrong section. Here we go. Let's take a look at tenor sticks and mallets. All right, here we go. Right here, McInstosh Signature Flips. All right. Let's take a look. So here they are right here. You can see the purple motif is still prevalent. It's got the rubber tips on there and everything. Now, one thing I noticed with these is they are significantly thicker compared to the Mizzles. So you do have a bit more weight there, which is nice because, you know, when you're marching, especially teaching a line and everything, you want them to have good strong hands and to be able to move around the drums and to be able to play with force and presence. However, the downside of that is when you get to concert season, those hands don't just magically go away. They are still there. And so that delicate touch you need for a concert setting isn't there. And so it's really hard to adjust from going from marching to concert when you've been, you know, just throwing down major chops all marching season, and especially if you're also doing winter line too, which is, I think, is really smart for a lot of band programs. They may not do winter percussion. They do winter percussion, and they'll go concert class. Now, I know concert class isn't as fun to watch and everything as movement, but I think it's still important when teaching music in general. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox for that. We'll talk about more about that later, maybe in a future video. Right now, let's all right, so here are the Mizzles. They're kind of light. I did have the rubber bits on here. They're like clear, but I lost those a long time ago. I have no idea what I did with them. I think I remember coming across them at one point. I forgot what they were, so I might have gotten thrown away. But let's take a look at these. yeah, nice, pretty, kind of a thinner sound. Not too bad. Let's take a look at the flips. All right, let's check out the wood side first. All right, not too bad. Let's compare them. So we got one flip, one mizzle. All right, you definitely get a little more of a fatter sound with the flips, which is kind of nice. Let's look at the other sides. You still get a fatter sound with this, but it's not as soft as this one. It's not as muffled. So I think you get a fatter sound. You get kind of a fatter sound just with the buttons of these. You can probably get some rubber things and put them on here and get a better just sound. With these. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see me do that. All right. Now, one thing I did notice is that, like I said, you do get a fatter sound, a little darker, fatter sound with the wooden tips here. One thing I do like is that they shaved off the points, because like with the innovative ones, they're pointed and it looks weird to me. But yeah, you get a nice fat sound with them. They're a bit more weighted than what you have here. These are so much lighter compared to these. Like, it's not, I don't know, it's pretty noticeable to me. Anyways, let's rate them and see how they compare. Now, sound quality wise for the Mizzles, we're going to start off with. I thought they had a good, pretty nice, decent sound to them. It wasn't perfect, but it's kind of hard to be perfect. So for that, we're going to give them. So for sound quality wise, I'm going to rate these as 70 because it's a little pingy just because of the round tips and the nylon tips. I possibly could be because of my head choices as well. But what do you think? Which heads do you like best for tenors? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, next, design. I really like the design of these because they're just a basic design. You don't need anything fancy, right? They're really simple. Don't really need nothing too thing. I mean, they're just single-ended tenor mallets. So for that, I gave it an 80. Nothing too special about it, but other than it's the purple beads. Okay, next up on our list is the weight. The weight I really like because it's so light. I love how light these are. They're not heavy. They're just not heavy. For that, I also gave it an 80 because, granted, they could be a little bit lighter, but they could always be a little lighter. But honestly, yeah, I liked it. So also 80. Next, movement. Now, movement with these things is great. I just gave it 100 because I didn't really have any trouble. I don't have any trouble moving around on the drums with these things. Now, I know I'm not great at playing tenors. You saw there's plenty of ticks, but there's really no issue moving around the drums with these things. So for that, perfect score, 100. Next, concert damage. Now this is how much damage it does to your hands for concert season. Now, the higher since we just want to keep everything up high, so the less damage it does, the higher the score. For that, I gave it also an 80. Why? Because you're going to get damage either way because these are heavier than what you would have with concert sticks. But even though these are really light and they're wonderful, just with the style that you have to play for marching band and for drumline stuff, you still have to be heavier handed. So there's going to be damage anyway. So for that, I gave it an 80. All right, so the total for the Mizzles, 82. All right, now let's look at the flips. So with these ones, you have to actually, make sure you're taking into consideration both these ends and these ends. So I did. So sound quality wise, with the wooden ends, I really like the fat sound you get. All right, it's really nice, clear, like nice fat meaty sound, which I think is really cool. I'm always a fan of that. So for that, 88. Now for the overall design, I really like the fact that they went with the flattened off ends here on the beads, because, well, I think the Renix are just weird. I don't know why, but we'll talk more about that in an upcoming video where I discuss all of the mallets that are dual-ended like this. All right? But design I really do like. However, I don't like the rubber that they put over here. And we'll get into a little more of that. But because of that, honestly, the design I gave a 65 for. As far as the weight is concerned, they're a bit more heavier. That's a drawback. But they're not that much heavier than what you have with the Mizzles. 75. As movement is concerned, now this is what I was talking about a minute ago. With the movement, this is the issue with this rubber, because the rubber seems to get stuck. Just get stuck when you try to do sweeps or anything on the heads. It seems to stick to it. So for that, 60. Because you can't move really well on the rubber ends. You can with the wooden ends, but you need to be able to use both really well. It's the whole purpose of these. It's not like with the Mizzles, you know, where the main end is just this side. You got to be able to do both. So, that's what it is. 60. Now, concert damage. Like I said, that's, you know, how much damage it does to your hands for concert band season. For that, I said 60 as well, because again, they're heavier. So because of that, yeah, you're not going to be able to switch to more of a concert setting as easily. So that's a bad thing in my book. So 60, which then brings the grand total to 69.6. All right, guys, so that does it for me. One thing I did forget to mention about the things that I don't like about the flips, actually, too, is that the taper here makes this kind of feel a little bit weird. It's nice to have more stick in your hand when you're playing. But anyways, that really does it for me for this. This is just my opinion. And to be honest with you, my opinion doesn't mean much. I'm just some dude on the internet. So let me know what you guys think. And I'll have another video upcoming where we discuss the Paul Renix. I've already got him here. John Mapes. And the also special Colin McNuts. See what I did there? Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.